In the headlines, government establishes a $1 million loan facility at 8 Bank for local musicians. The leader of the opposition likely to pay compensation following a court decision in a defamation case brought against him by members of cabinet, and the Dominica Amalgamated Workers Union planning an event focused on workers' health this Mayday. I am Kenny Williams with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. First up, serious musicians now have access to a $1 million loan facility at the 8 Bank. The Minister for Commerce, Enterprise and Small Business Development presented the check to the General Manager of the 8 Bank on Friday to signal the launch of the loan facility. Loan amounts ranging from $5,000 to $100,000 can be accessed at 2% interest with up to 6 months grace period. General Manager of the 8 Bank, Julius Corbett, says serious musicians will qualify to receive the funds.
The serious musician who takes the business seriously, that's it is. That you treat it as a business. That you go out there and you just don't take the bank money and fool around it. You decide that, listen, this is what you want to do, and you have identified a market. The market is strong, it's viable, and you become a major player in the industry.
Minister for Commerce Roslyn Paul says the loan facility will also be extended to Calypso tents.
Target group would include musicians, singers, songwriters, musical arrangers, musical educators and trainers, musical producers, musical promoters, musical groups, band, calypso tents, recording studios, production entities engaged in music video production, cultural groups, and other related beneficiaries can target or can access this loan facility. Support on this facility, as I said, will also cover training in business management, publishing, songwriting, mixing, mastering, marketing and promotions, events management, music production, contract law, intellectual property, voice training, breath control, among others.
Meantime, the leader of the opposition may have to pay compensation in connection with a court matter involving allegations he made about ministers of cabinet. The court has handed down a decision on the matter this week. Mr. Linton filed a defense, but the Prime Minister's legal team applied to have the court strike it out on the basis that it did not specifically address the allegation that he had made.
Ministers of government knowingly harbored rapists in exchange for assistance from the government. Now that case has now been struck out by the judge and sent for the assessment for compensation and costs. I have no doubt, if true to form, Mr. Linton will try to drag the entire court system and perhaps appeal. But it signals a warning. We have not yet seen the judge's written judgment. She promised to give it to us and to the other side. You cannot go on the radio and accuse somebody of being a rapist or selling passports or to the Indian criminal Dawu, and when you're sued, you say, well, that's not what you meant. What you really said or what you meant to say was something else. I thought the Kieran Peanut Burns matter would have been a warning. That warning has been ignored. Now we have this ruling. Chances are this ruling is going to be ignored until the multiple cases we now have before the court get to judgment, and Mr. Linton and the others find themselves in a situation where they're unable to pay the judgment debts. At that time, the lesson, no doubt, will be learned, but the hard way.
Other lead stories: a US $15 million project geared at helping Caribbean countries combat the effects of climate change is executing its mandate as planned. The Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership was officially launched in January 2016 with the aim of helping countries advance the process of inclusive low-emission, climate-resilient development by improving energy security and integrity, medium to long-term planning for adaptation to climate change. The project is being implemented under the United Nations Development Program, UNDP.
The project consists of 3 components in order to achieve these objectives. The first component is support countries in medium to long-term adaptation and mitigation planning. The second component is to transfer actual technology that is both low emission and advanced climate risk management. The third component is to strengthen knowledge networks to foster South-South cooperation and North-South cooperation through sharing experiences surrounding climate change, natural hazard risk, and resilience.
An official in the Belize Ministry of the Environment and Climate Change says the wider Caribbean region must get on board with the efforts at managing the battling effects of climate change.
Given the importance of the region's natural resources, the protection and management of these resources from climate change and human impacts is a pressing issue. Rising sea levels, rising sea surface temperatures, increasing drought and flooding events, changing rainfall patterns, increase in frequency and intensity of hurricanes, therefore pose a serious threat to lives and livelihoods, especially to the most vulnerable and poorest among us. The climate change challenge is enormous and requires a coherent and coordinated response from us.
The 8 Caribbean countries which benefit from the JCCP are Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Suriname. And now for this story about 23-year-old Linver Ambo, who was among entrepreneurs featured at the first ever Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce Awards on Thursday. Ambo was awarded the Most Outstanding MSME Entrepreneur for his Choco Dominique venture. He began processing cocoa beans to produce cocoa powder and packaging it in 2014 with an initial investment of $600. Today, his company is worth $40,000. Within 3 years of the company, he secured an export market in Guadeloupe. Ambo told the ceremony the accolade caught him by surprise.
So it means a lot that when you work on, even if you're not doing something for others to see, just doing it to make a difference and make a living for yourself and give other jobs and stuff. But it feels nice when others appreciate what you do and when others love it better. And ever since I was in grade 6, what I wanted to do was be a business owner. And as soon as I was 18 and legally able to register a business, I did. And a couple of years later, I see it works out. So, I really appreciate this chance.
Other companies awarded were Freelance Secretarial Services, Inland Safety Supply, Unicommer Dominica, Whitchurch's Hands Across the Sea program, First Domestic Insurance Company, Flow for its Creole in the Park, Jolly's Pharmacy for its National Clinic, Anthony Toulon for his Oil of Ojas. Toulon created the product 22 years ago.
And I got up one morning and I had a very, very unusual meditation. And in the meditation, I saw the entire formula for the oil of Ojas. I know this sounds very strange, but I did not sit down in a laboratory. I did not mix things. I did not try to work out the formula. I saw the formula all at once. And a week passed, 2 weeks passed, 3 weeks passed, I still saw the formula. I told my wife, I have to make this oil.
The private sector has been assured that government is pursuing plans to establish a business development center. The word from Government Minister Lady Catherine Daniel at the first ever DAIC award ceremony on Thursday evening. Daniel, on behalf of the Minister of Commerce, Enterprise and Small Business Development, pledged the government's commitment to action for bettering the business arena.
The government of Dominica, inclusive of the Ministry of Commerce, has engaged the DAIC on a regular basis through much dialogue and consultation. The partnership with the Ministry of Commerce is indeed getting closer. And one of the initiatives that we are working feverishly on will soon be implemented. That is the Business Development Center that will provide ready advisement, counseling, and support to its members.
Daniel says government appreciates the easy access to the DAIC through its President Kira Thompson Ed and Executive Member Teresa Campbell Carbon. Coming up, a 33-year-old man sentenced for his involvement with a minor. We'll have that and more. Thanks for staying with us. Trade union leaders have been weighing in lately on the need for a trade union congress, and some say a lack of unity could be the issue. Channel 5 News spoke with one of the union leaders here who is not often in the news, but also has a perspective on the trade union congress issue.
In this very room that we are sitting here years ago, when Mr. Anthony Frederick Joseph was there, I sat with him and we were discussing a trade union congress. That was years ago. And again, it was the logistics. Who's going to be the first general secretary? You know, the presidents. How are we going to lay that foundation? You know, you have the executive members. But I really don't see that as a problem. I don't see that as a problem at all. So, and yes, the poaching still continues, but I am saying that if we do plan to go forward with it, I am sure we should be able to deal with that.
Meantime, Mrs. Shillingford is planning a Mayday event with a difference for workers focusing on rest and physical healing. She says she is very concerned about the level of stress and illness which exists among workers, and while we take care of our bodies, very little thought, if any, is given to our spirit.
We have a nation of workers, and if the workers are sick, I mean, it means that our productivity is not going to be very good by extension. And so most of the information coming through the media is about the food that we eat. The doctors, the people who are nutritionists, they speak and they will say, it's the food, and there's a lot of hypertension and diabetes and heart problems and cancer and depression. All of these are illnesses. I have been watching the news and I'm thinking to myself, oh, but it's not the food. Or rather, it's not the food only. What is causing all of these sicknesses, the bottom line is that we are feeding ourselves, our bodies, but we're not feeding our soul and the spirit. You go to the hospital, and the doctor takes care of you at the hospital. But guess what? Nobody thought that this human being is really made up of three, spirit, soul, and body. So the doctors take care of the body. They put the legs and everything back together and you're sent home. But your spirit and your soul that has been traumatized, nobody heals, gives the healing towards that.
Monday's event takes place from 9 to 12 at Anchorage Hotel. Next up, the High Court has sentenced Gary John Finn to 10 years in jail for sexually abusing a 13-year-old girl. John Finn, 33, pleaded guilty to the charge of unlawful sexual intercourse with the 13-year-old in contravention of the Sexual Offences Act. Justice Victoria Charles Clark said, "You breached her trust. You repeated the offense more than once, and as a result, she was subjected to teasing by her school friends and her school grades were affected." The judge said the accused took advantage of a very young girl and sexually abused her. Her ladyship went on to say that she hoped John Finn's time in jail will make him a better person. The offense carries a maximum of 25 years in jail. The 9-year sentence was increased to 10 for the aggravation factors. In other news, project development specialist with the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, Keith Nichols, is calling on journalists to remain committed to championing the cause of climate change education. Here is Andrea Louis with more.
Nichols' comments came ahead of the official end of a 2-day workshop on climate change capacity building for the media. Speaking to Channel 5 News during the conference, Nichols said that workshops such as these need to be upgraded from refresher courses in order to make a bigger impact on the lives of Caribbean citizens.
We need to continue the dialogue. When I say we, I mean us agencies and media people, and I think for the sake of continuity as well, if, for example, another workshop is held somewhere at a different time, we want you to come back so you can build on the body of knowledge that you have already. If we bring in different people, we're always starting from scratch. We never progress beyond what you know now. We're always refreshing. Refreshing doesn't get us anywhere. So for the sake of continuity, As long as this is your profession, we need you to keep coming back so you can help build and share with others as well. That's the important thing.
The specialist pointed out that there are other obstacles in the way of spreading climate change awareness to the wider public.
First of all, getting information to you. You need to understand what it is. And why this workshop is good, because you need to understand what climate change is. So when you start having the conversations with people, communities, whatever, you speak in a more informed manner. And that's a key thing. That's one of the major barriers. The other thing is, what is your corporate policy on how you engage in getting information? I know there are lots of media houses that's like, oh, when you go to this workshop, I need you to get a news item for a workshop. That's not what it's supposed to be. That's just one small part of the picture. It is, you have to be engaged in a conversation and you have to be in a position to now share the information with others.
Nichols also encouraged regional journalists to be more creative in the way they approach the discussion on climate change.
I want to see a transformation in the way media persons think. I want to see a way in which media gets engaged in the conversation on climate change. How we work with our communities, with politicians, with decision makers, with people all over the world, to get them to think differently, to take on responsibility of climate change, to take on the mantle of finding solutions and that sort of thing. The media, to me, is key in all of this. You are the voice of organizations like mine and JCCC, etc., except that the media doesn't always see itself in that light. I'm not sure what the definition of media and media's work is in the Caribbean, but that needs to change in my view.
Technical and financial support for the workshop was provided through the Government of Japan and executed under the Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership, JCCC. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
And the leading elderly care institution has benefited from a $7,000 donation of essential supplies. The Dominica Infirmary was presented with the items including adult diapers, washcloths, and gloves by Canada-based Dominicans Ken Thomas and Coralie Thomas of Casey Fashions and Enterprise on Friday. The couple pledged their continued support to the organization. Director of Dominica Infirmary, Annie St. Luce, told the presentation ceremony that the donations enabled the organization to provide improved care with reducing its expenditure. That's news. Sports. Next. First up in sports, West Indies will be looking to recover from a previous defeat when they take on Pakistan for their second test match in Barbados on Sunday. In their most recent game, the Windies went down to the visiting Pakistan team by 7 wickets. Final scores from that encounter, West Indies 286 and 152, Pakistan 407 and 36 for 6. The second test match between Pakistan and West Indies is scheduled to begin at 10 a.m. on Sunday. In track and field, two of Dominica's top male sprinters will get a chance to improve their skills when they take part in a Martinique Invitational this weekend. Previously, Mitchell Davis and Danielson Mahote had good performances in the Martinique Club Colonial Invitational last weekend.
I always try to run faster every time I run, so I'm just going out there and do my best and run a faster time than what I ran last time. With my goal being to win a gold medal, first place. I believe every time I run on track, I run faster because I'm getting more used and accustomed to running on a track. So if I get more competition on track, I believe I will run faster and keep running faster. This time around, I'm hoping to chase the 100-meter national record as I have the 200-meter. I also have the 100-meter, but I want to break it again.
Yes. This time around, the competition will be a little bit tougher, because there are people from France coming down to compete against me. I just want to stay relaxed and perform to the best of my abilities. I know with God everything will be possible, so I just want to run faster than the last time around. First of all, I was surprised with my performance because I wasn't in the shape I'm supposed to be. Well, I was supposed to be. I wasn't training how I was supposed to be training, and I ran a personal best in 100 meters, so I was really surprised. This time around, I got a little bit, like a week of training. But it wasn't all that, but hopefully it will work out as last time. The more you compete is the faster you get. So with the exposure of the competitions in the region and all of that, because back here we don't get to compete against the top class athletes. We don't have all of that. It's just singles, me and Danielson and maybe some other talents, just simple talents. But outside there we get to face other athletes at a higher level, so to increase our performances.
Moving on to basketball, where the Dominica State College defeated Isaiah Thomas Secondary School 52-31 in the girls' semi-final of the Secondary Schools Basketball Championships on Thursday. For DSC, Kyla Winston, 24.6 rebounds, and Romelcia Phillip, 22 points, 11 rebounds. In a losing effort for ITSS, we had Jennifer Joseph, 15.6 rebounds, and Nisha Joseph, 8 points, 8 rebounds. Meantime, Portsmouth Secondary benefited from home advantage when they defeated Dominica Grammar School 34-13 in the other semi-final. This means that DSC and PSS will meet up in the girls' final at the Massac Hardcourt next Thursday at 5, following the male final between the same schools at 3 p.m. On to weekend sports, of course, if the weather permits. 6 matches are carded in the 2017 Fort Young Hotel Dominica Cricket Association Intermediate League. Beginning on Saturday at Point Michelle, it will be a battle of the Marino and Summit Sports Clubs. At Gardens, Reuben Baker Christians will be hoping to recover from their last defeat when they take on Grassroots Academy. Vacas will be the ground for the Northern Star Sports Club versus Gladiator Sports Club encounter. Meantime, on Sunday in Point Michelle, Marino Evergreen will take on Starlight Sports Club, and the Dublin Sports Club will play against the Marino Sports Club at Gardens. And the national team continues to prepare for the upcoming Windward Islands tournament with a second trial match from Saturday into Sunday. That competition is carded for Benjamin's Park. All matches begin at 10 a.m. Next up, the Rounders Association will be having a meeting on Saturday to introduce its recently appointed executive to the Rounders family and discuss the way forward for the sport. In February, a decision was taken to change the executive and appoint external members to serve, with the exception of 2 team captains as committee members to prevent confusion and bias in the sport. The recently appointed executive reads Nikki Yearwood-Layton, President, Julian Jeremy, Vice President, Melinda Henderson, Treasurer, Nazarene John Baptist, Assistant Secretary Treasurer, Hayden Mills, Public Relations Officer, Abraham Brown, Ex Officio Member, Rhoda St. John, Advisor Consultant, with Kervel Vidal and Missing Alexander as committee members. Saturday morning's meeting is carded for the Alliance Francaise building at 10. The executive will look at the regular league as well as the addition of a T20 school and business leagues. Sports continues with this item where 15 of Dominica's finest will be on show this Saturday as the Dominica Bodybuilders Association and Physical Culture will host a competition here. The sport had seen a recent resurgence with added interest being shown by local talent. Saturday's event is carded for Arawak House of Culture at 8 p.m. Finally, in the point standing of the 7th Annual Primary Schools Mini Volleyball Festival on Thursday, for the girls we had Campbell Primary 8 points, Warner 7, Mount Prosper 3, Massac 2, and Burian Academy 0. In Zone A of the boys division, Campbell Primary 6 points, Mount Prosper 5, Caleb Laurent 3, and Burian Academy 0. Zone B, Salisbury 4, Warner 2 points, and Massac 0. In the finals, Salisbury Primary defeated Warner 2 sets 0, 15-12, and 15-13. The male schools going to the next round are the Salisbury and Warner Primary Schools. That's all the sporting highlights for now. Join us next time. We check in now with the Met Office for the latest weather update.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening. Farah Rockere. Much rain we received from yesterday into today. The 24-hour rainfall at the Canefield station was 92.0 millimeters, and as much as 126 millimeters was recorded at a station in the interior of the island. A flood warning is in effect for Dominica, and that will continue until tomorrow, 12 p.m., because more showers and more rain is expected. Earlier, infrared satellite imagery imagery shows multi-layered clouds associated with the trough system over the northern portion of the Lesser Antilles, and that is the feature which has been affecting weather conditions for Dominica. Cloudy to overcast skies prevailed today. Earlier visible satellite imagery showed low and mid-level clouds across Dominica, Guadeloupe, as well as the Lesser Antilles. Earlier radar imagery taken about 4 p.m. local time indicated scattered showers across Dominica and Guadeloupe. The weather tonight is expected to be mostly cloudy with some scattered showers and some periods of rain. A reduction in shower activity is expected tonight. However, after midnight, an increase in shower activity expected. What does that mean for the weather tomorrow? Well, mostly cloudy skies, overcast at times with light to moderate showers, periods of rain and thunderstorm activity mainly in the morning period. The marine forecast will be moderate and waves are expected to peak up to 7 feet. Let's take a look now at the weather for the holiday weekend. Well, it's not all gloom and doom. Tomorrow, Saturday, it will be mostly cloudy to overcast at times with showers, periods of rain and thunderstorm activity for the earlier part of the day. As the trough system will continue to affect us for the next 24 to 48 hours, similar conditions are expected for Sunday, mostly cloudy to overcast at times with scattered showers and thunderstorm activity. However, Mayday, an improvement is expected. Partly cloudy skies with some scattered showers and a chance of a thunderstorm activity. Let's take a look now at the Caribbean forecast. Well, the northern portion of the Lesser Antilles can anticipate cloudy to overcast skies with some thunderstorm activity, while the southern portion can expect partly cloudy skies with some scattered showers. We move on now to the international city forecast. Well, like us, the city of Caracas can anticipate some cloudy skies with thunderstorm activity. Cloudy skies expected over in the city of New York, partly cloudy skies for Miami and London, and the city of Beijing can expect some beautiful sunny skies tomorrow. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:46 a.m. and will set at 6:21 p.m. Of course, for more information, you could always visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us next time for your next weather broadcast. Have a lovely weekend. Thank you.
To end the news, the headlines again. Government establishes a $1 million loan facility at 8 Bank for local musicians. The leader of the opposition likely to pay compensation following a court decision in a defamation case brought against him by members of cabinet and the Dominica Amalgamated Workers Union, planning an event focused on workers' health this Mayday. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNews28thApril2k17. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Kenny Williams. To all our viewers around the world, thank you for watching. Join us next time.